Sorry, let me ask you this question. Can the tribunal ruling in favor of Peter Obi stop the inauguration of BolaTinubu as president of Nigeria on May 29th, 2023? Can it stop it? There are many people with expectations that once the tribunal rules, it takes immediate effect and that will stop BolaTinubu's inauguration. But is this true? That's why it's important to answer these questions so that we can know what to expect and know how to prepare. Those who argue that the tribunal's ruling before May 29th, which is highly unlikely considering the fact that we have about 2 weeks or so before May 29th, if the tribunal starts its main hearing before 15th of May. If the tribunal starts its main hearing before 15th of May, then we'll have about 2 weeks before May 29th for the tribunal to reach a ruling that hypothetically may be in favor of Peter Obi. Now, if they are able to do that, which is not likely, it's not likely because it's not only Labour Party that is contesting the outcome of the elections. 5 political parties are contesting it. And once the hearing starts proper, all of the political parties will be given dates to present their own case. For every party that presents its case, the tribunal will take note, and INEC, as well as APC and Tinubu and Kashim Shettima, everybody that is sued in the petition will have the time to also present their own defense. So each political party will present their case, and INEC, APC, and Tinubu will have their own opportunity to defend. And that's how it will go for each of the 5 political parties that are contesting the outcome. Now you see that if they run it every day and each political party is given a day to present its case and INEC and APC have another day to present their defense, then you probably will be looking at a situation where the 2 weeks will not be enough for the tribunal to reach a ruling. But let's say that the tribunal, let's assume for the sake of argument that the tribunal actually speeds up the hearing, expedites action on the hearing, and they reach a ruling, particularly on the purely constitutional cases of the 25% of FCT, the drugs case of Tinubu in the US. They reach a ruling on it very, very quickly. Can that ruling stop the inauguration of Tinubu as president of Nigeria on May 29th? Can it? Let's look at what the Electoral Act 2022 says in section 138, part 1. It says, where the election is nullified by the court and notice of appeal against the decision is given within the stipulated period for appeal, the elected candidate shall, notwithstanding the contrary decision of the court, remain in office and enjoy all the benefits that accrued to the office pending the determination of the appeal, and shall not be sanctioned for the benefits derived while in office. Part 2. If the tribunal or the court, as the case may be, determines that a candidate returned as elected was not validly elected, the candidate returned as elected shall, notwithstanding the contrary decision of the election tribunal or the court, remain in office pending the expiration of the 21 days within which an appeal may be brought. So section 138 of the Electoral Act 2022 expressly says that if the tribunal reaches a decision and that decision actually nullifies the election or stipulates or rules that a candidate that was returned elected was not validly elected, that candidate continues to remain in office pending when the appeal is heard up to the Supreme Court. Up to the Supreme Court. And that the benefits the person derived while in office will remain. So what that simply means is that, suppose, for the sake of argument, the tribunal rules that Tinubu is not validly elected. Electoral Act stipulates clearly that he is still to be sworn in and is still to enjoy the paraphernalia of office pending the determination of the appeal. Now, let's even say that the tribunal actually nullifies the election and orders a rerun of the election. Section 136 of the Electoral Act 2022, Part 1 says that, subject to subsections 2 and 3, if the tribunal or the court, as the case may be, determines that a candidate who was returned as elected was not validly elected on any ground, the tribunal or court shall nullify the election and order the commission to conduct a fresh election not later than 90 days after the decision, if an appeal is not filed against the decision, or B, nullification of the election by the court having the final appellate jurisdiction in respect of the said election. 4. All objections filed in an election petition shall be determined at the time of final judgment. All objections filed in an election petition shall be determined at the time of final judgment. So, which means that the tribunal cannot just determine the 25% case and give a ruling, or determine the drugs-related case and give a ruling, or the fact that Kashim Shettima was nominated for dual constituency and give a ruling. The tribunal cannot do that. From section 136, part 4, all objections filed in an election petition shall be determined at the time of final judgment, which means that it is not possible for the rulings of the tribunal to come before May 29th. Considering that you have 4 grounds, and the 4th one, which has to do with the number of valid votes cast, will be very cumbersome to prove for any of the political parties, any of the 5 political parties. Considering that the tribunal cannot give a judgment unless everything has been sorted out before it will give its final. So it is hard for the tribunal to give a ruling before May 29th. It's hard. Now, let's even assume, like I said earlier, for the sake of argument, that they actually give a judgment before May 29th. The Electoral Act 2022 that we just read from section 138 actually stipulates it clearly that whoever was declared winner continues to be winner, enjoys the benefit of his office. In benefit of the office simply includes inauguration, simply includes acting as president. So, even if the court rules, even if the tribunal rules before May 29th in favor of Peter Obi, the Electoral Act simply does not stop Tinubu from being sworn in, because he has the chance to appeal up to the Supreme Court. We need to know these things so that we can plan accordingly. It's not, I don't think it's healthy for our mental state of mind, for our mental health, for us to have wrong expectation. Wrong expectations can often lead to frustrations. So that is it. Right now, that's why I said this makes me sad, and many people read it the other way. Some people started abusing. It's okay to abuse me. I just want what's best for Nigeria. Abuse me all you want, from whatever sides you want to abuse. You can abuse me. I'll still keep doing these things, because what we need at the end of the day is a better Nigeria. I hope and believe that at the end, Peter Obi will, through the courts, get his mandates back. get his mandate back. But it's not looking likely that he will do that before May 29th. It's not looking likely at all. And the earlier we understand this, the better we adjust our expectation and prepare our next move. It doesn't make me happy. In fact, it makes me extremely sad and disappointed that Tinubu gets to be sworn in. And that's why I'm thinking and looking at what constitutional means can be employed to stop the inauguration. And right now, based on the Constitution, based on the Electoral Act, I am not seeing any. And I will never be an advocate of a violent protest, because that would just lead to the death of innocent person. I will not. And I am entitled to my own position. Many people seem to be advocating for that. You guys are well within your rights to do that. But I can tell you, based on what happened in the first civil war in Nigeria, 1967, I am from Delta State. My village in Saple, my village came under attack from both parties. The Biafran soldiers attacked and killed people in my village. The Nigerian soldiers attacked and killed people in my village. So we were like the grass that was bearing the brunt of two elephants fighting. And it was not funny. So whoever wants to have an opinion of a violent protest to stop the election of the tribunal, you are well within your right. Just as I am well within my rights to say I do not prefer that. We should begin to engage intellectually. 30 years ago, the likes of Tinubu and co. were in the other part, being the oppressed by the likes of Abacha. 30 years after, they are now the ones oppressing. How did they do it? Tactically, they engage their intellectual sagacity. We should engage our intellectual sagacity. I believe it can be done without violent protest. And that's why the case is in court. Let's follow it logically. Let's shed light on things that we can shed light on and create awareness. Let's put pressure as much as we can within legal limits on the judiciary to do the right thing. And that's why it's extremely important that the proceedings be aired live, the hearings be aired live, so that Nigerians can see all that is going on. Because justice must not just be done, it must be seen to be done. And if the process is seen to be fair, Nigerians will accept it. Nigerians will accept it. It's only when there are shady things that happens and things that are not clear to Nigerians that it will now be a recipe for chaos. But let's put pressure, let the hearings be aired live, and let the proceedings be done fairly and openly. The outcome, like Pastor Sarah Omako of Family Worship said, if the process is free and fair, Nigerians will accept the outcome. That's what I stand for. And I believe that we can outsmart these people if we just engage our brain. If we engage our brain, we can outsmart them. They rigged. Yes, they rigged. But I believed that if we had put some things in place, if we had not assumed that they were going to act, that INEC is going to act in consonance with their promises, if we had not assumed that, I had been shouting that we should have at least 3 polling unit agents in each polling unit, and that we should have polling unit agents across all. In fact, even export polling unit agents across locations, particularly in the north, where you can have a polling unit agent for Labour Party working for APC or working for PDP. That way, you present a proper check, and you also will have results coming in from the polling units in real time. If we had this result coming in from Labour Party polling units in real time, and we had that collation, you saw what happened during the Kwara State collation, where Dino Melaye and the Labour Party collation center officers actually spoke in objection. INEC said, if you have contrary figures, present them. And we did not have contrary figures. But that's in the past. Mistakes were made. We assumed that INEC was going to do the right thing. But going forward now, asking for violent protest will not solve the problem. It will only make things worse. And we have the process to supervise. We have the process to watch. Let's watch the process. Let's come up with ideas that can help Peter Obi reclaim the mandate, which I say is very, very possible. But that it will happen and stop the inauguration of Tinubu on May 29, I don't see that happening.